Hola a todos! Hello everyone! ¿Cómo estamos? Today I'm here to give you the keys to take your writing from a beginner level to an intermediate or even an advanced level. How do you do that? Especially for exams with connectives, linking words, amigos. Are you ready? Venga, vamos! We're going to start with addition connectives, some of the most important ones, to avoid saying e, and all the time. Yes, the first one is going to be e. Ta-da! E means and. The Y in Spanish pronounced as E means and. However, if the next word starts with an HI or just with an I, your Y, E in Spanish, is going to be replaced by an E in English. Does that make sense? Por ejemplo, tengo que aprobar, I need to pass, español y historia. Tengo que aprobar español e historia. E historia. Moreover, furthermore, as well, in addition, there's one word that replaces all of this. How would you say that? Además. Ta-da! Also, too. Ooh, I also like that. Also, también. También. That's an easy one. Most people like it. You can start a phrase with también. You could start a phrase with además. Además, tengo dos perros y también tengo dos gatos. There you have the two of them in the same sentence. Seguimos con opposition, contrast. Not that kind of opposition, not that kind of fight, but more or less. How do you express contrast? First one that we know, everybody knows this one, pero, but, pero, okay? I am Spanish, but I live in England. Soy española, pero vivo en Inglaterra. Aunque, although, super useful one. You can put it in the middle of the sentence, you can put it at the beginning. Don't put it at the end though, it does not work. I know that it works in English, sometimes we say though at the end. In Spanish it doesn't. Besides, except for, aparte de, instead of, ¿cómo se diría instead of? En vez de. However, one of the most common used linking words, super useful. However, sin embargo, you want to up your level, use a bit more of a posh word, no obstante. No obstante. So you can say, sin embargo, no obstante. Entiendo tu punto de vista. I understand your point. Sin embargo, no obstante, no lo comparto. I don't agree with it. No lo comparto. I don't share the same opinion. A pesar de que. What do you reckon that means? A pesar de or a pesar de que. In spite of or despite. A pesar de que me dejase plantada, despite the fact that he stood me up, volví a quedar con él. I went on another date with him. No way. I really like this one to express contrast and opinions. Por un lado, por una parte, on one hand. Por otra parte, por otro lado, on the other hand. De todas formas, anyway. No, do you know what? Anyway, I've got to go. Anyway, de todas formas. Anyway. Let's now have a look at connectives to express cause. Causa. ¿Por qué lo hiciste, Julio Andrés? First one that everybody uses is por qué. The one that everyone uses. Stop repeating por qué all the time. Let me give you some alternatives. Yes, por qué means because. Por qué. Be careful with this one, by the way, because some people get mistaken. Why is it sometimes separate? Why is it sometimes together? Easy. If it's in a question, okay, you put it separate. ¿Por qué? Why? However, normally, as a norm, there are a couple of exceptions, but as a norm, if you are using it as because, all together, my friends. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué te fuiste? Porque me aburría. Why did you leave? Because I was bored. ¿Por qué te fuiste? Porque me aburría. Ya está. Alternatives to por qué. Ya que, I like this one, and I tell my students to remember yucky, ya que. ya que or puesto que. They sound quite posh. They look very good in an exam, guys. Ya que or puesto que. What do they mean? Since, given that, since or given that. Debido a que. Estaba mala debido a que tenía un virus. I was poorly due to a virus. Debido a, due to, or debido a que. Due to, a causa de. Llegué tarde a causa del tráfico. I sound so posh right now. Yes, would I actually use this one in real life speaking? Most likely not. Would it look absolutely fabulous in a writing essay? Aha! Oh, yes. So, a causa de, since. Another one for since. A causa de or a causa de que. Como. Not this como, okay? Not the como for como. It's not that como. It's the one that does not have an accent, okay? Como, and it means as. Como llegué tarde, no pude ver la película. As I was late, I couldn't watch the movie. Gracias a. Thanks to. Gracias a tu ayuda, pude ir al cine. Thanks for your help, I could go to the cinema. Giving lots of cinema examples today. Do I want to go to the cinema? Maybe. Quizás. Okay. Gracias a or gracias a que. Thanks to. And the opposite would be por culpa de. You could say, llegamos tarde por culpa de mi marido, que tarda mucho en vestirse. We arrive late because of my husband, who takes a lot of time to get ready. So you've got gracias a, thanks to, and por culpa de. Sometimes you can use them ironically. You could say, the example that I've just given you, llegamos tarde gracias a mi marido. We arrived late thanks to my husband. I'm being ironic. I'm not thanking him. Por esa razón, for this reason, I couldn't take the test. Por esta razón, no pude hacer el examen. Por esta razón. For this reason. Por eso. That's why. Por eso. You could also use that one as in to show that you're actively listening to somebody. Give them a response, a quick response. Por eso. Or eso. That's it. Eso. Por eso. Seguimos con consecuencias. There's acción, consecuencia. Action. Every action has a consequence. And I'm going to show you how to express this. The most popular one again. Así que, so, therefore, así que. You could also use entonces, then, so. Entonces, ¿vamos a ir a cenar o no? So, are we going out for dinner or not? Entonces, same as así que, very, very similar. Por lo tanto or por eso. Therefore, these are a bit more posh. Por lo tanto. Por lo tanto. Therefore, if you want to be super elegant speaking, if you want to be super eloquent, super elegant speaking, por consiguiente. I'm not sure I've actually used that in my real life ever. Por consiguiente. It's a very political, it's a word that I would expect to hear from a political speech, in the King's speech, but not in daily routine, in daily life. Por consiguiente. Maybe from a teacher, a professor in uni, that kind of word. En consecuencia. Consequently. Actually, that one sounds very similar to English, so it's really easy to remember it. ¿Para qué? So that. ¿Para qué me has llamado? Why did you call me? I'm always giving a lot of examples. Muchos ejemplos. And to give you an example, I normally say, for example, por ejemplo. And that is the most common one. If you want to add an example into your essay, into your writing, you can just say, por ejemplo. I know that in English, we also have the option of saying, for instance, which is very good. We've got, for example, for instance. In Spanish, we normally just go for ejemplo, unless you are doing a very high writing, a very advanced and very formal, in which case you could say a saber. A saber is namely. I've normally seen it in certain books and formal documents, a saber, when you want to name somebody, namely, okay? Legal documents, things like that. Sequence. We want this one. You get an exam question and you need to tell people what happened and what was the order of the actions that happened. You need to tell a story. You need these connectives. En primer lugar. Or you can just say primero, first or firstly, en primer lugar. En primer lugar is a bit more formal, a bit more elaborate. En primer lugar or primero. Firstly, first of all. Segundo, second of all. Tercero, third. Primero, segundo, tercero. Previously. Anteriormente, previously. Posteriormente, subsequently. Posteriormente. Entonces, we've seen this one before in the consequences one, and I told you that it meant so, but in this case, if you're putting a sequence and you want to say, then the thief came through the door. Entonces, or luego, okay, you can use those two. Entonces or luego. Although, aunque, luego can be used more as a later. But later, you can also say más tarde. Later. You could say luego or más tarde. And after that, a raccoon came through the window. Un mapache entró por la ventana. Raccoon. You're in the middle of the story. Mientras que me duchaba, oí el teléfono. Whilst I was having a shower, I heard the phone. If anybody wants to hire me for telenovelas, I am available. Okay. Mientras que, whilst. Mientras tanto, in the meantime, okay? In the meantime, mientras tanto. Todavía. This one is tricky because it might mean certain different things depending on the context. You can use it as yet. Todavía no he hecho la comida. I haven't made the food yet. Or I still love you. Todavía te quiero. Todavía te amo. So todavía. Yet or still. And ya is used as already. Ya está hecha la comida. Food is ready. Finally, we're getting to the end. Finally, finalmente, por último, lastly, finalmente, por último. That's it. You're narrowing it down. You're putting everything in a nutshell and you're finishing your writing. Por último, finalmente. You can use this not only for events, but you can also use it for your opinion about something, stating your opinions, you know, first, secondly, lastly. They work really well. Or you could say al final, in the end. You know when you're watching a movie in Spanish and it says fin. Dun, 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 dun. No, that's at the beginning. Okay, so fin, and you get the créditos. F-I-N, fin, al final, in the end, al final. I'm going to tell you some more with doubt. How do we express doubt? These are used normally with the very beloved subjunctive form, okay? I'm going to give you a few of them. If you want to say or, how do you say it in Spanish? And the same thing that happened with and, y and e, happens with the or. You use o, but if the next word starts with an o or an ho, you're going to take that o away and put a u instead, okay? You can't say o horroroso, you need to say u horroroso. If, si, if you want to, si quieres, ¿por qué no? Perhaps, tal vez. Perhaps, tal vez. Venga, que llegamos al final. We're getting there. Stay with me. Ni. I love this one. Ni is an insult in Spain. Why do we use it as an insult? Because we use it to describe people that neither study nor work. Ni estudian ni trabajan. Eres un nini. Ni estudias ni trabajas. ¿Qué pasa? Nini. Unless you text me first, don't come to my house. Unless, a menos que. Siempre que. As long as, siempre que. And now we've got to the end. We just have one more section, which is the conclusion. How do we bring it all to an end? But first, are you liking this? Is this useful for you? Then please give me a follow and subscribe. Gracias. En conclusión. In conclusion. En resumen. In summary. En definitiva. In brief. En definitiva. En pocas palabras. In short, like my friend says, long story short. In short. En pocas palabras. In few words. Para resumir, to summarize, and to conclude, para finalizar. Espero que uséis estas palabras. I really hope you use this because they can make an absolute massive difference to your writing. Muchas gracias, chicos. Adiós.